This
Right,
conference will now be recorded.
there you go. Okay, and hopefully you can see my screen about now. Okay, good. Let's go through this. Okay, Jack Nicklaus said, I never played a shot in my life without playing it in my mind first, which kind of struck me actually. Mute some of you guys before I get there. I've always been a big fan of the mental side. So actually, I'll take you back a step. So why am I a big fan of the mental side? I was kind of, given my first career was really a professional sports person. In sport, you're really aware of the mental side of it and how important it was. And I remember driving along, borrowed my mother's car. I was probably about 19 at the time. And I was struggling away. I was doing okay, but I was putting a lot of effort in and feeling like I wasn't making much progress. And I was listening to an interview with who was the guy, Jeff Howth, who was the captain of the New Zealand cricket team at the time. And the interviewer asked him, what's the difference between a first class cricketer and an international cricketer? And I literally, that was the exact question I wanted to know that he was asking, because I wasn't a first class cricketer, but I certainly wanted to be one. And I wasn't an international cricketer, but I really wanted to be one of those two secretly. And Jeff Howth was the captain, and he said, well, the difference is it's in the top 2 inches. It's 80% mental. And I thought, yep, that's right. It's 80% mental. I was tall enough, I was big enough and strong enough, and all those type of things. And I was a reasonable player, but I got it. It is mental, and so I thought, right, I'm going to have to master the mental side. And it was that point right there when I really thought I'm going to have to master the mental side, because if I can be better than anyone else mentally, then I've got a chance of getting way ahead if it's 80% mental. Okay, so I really studied from that point on. There was no internet. There was I sort of ordered some sports psychology books from the US and ordered them over and read through them, and most of them weren't very good. One of them was quite good, but ended up studying sports psychology, or just psychology, performance psychology, ever since. And so what I'm going to kind of give you today is really a very simple method and a very simple system that does a lot of the stuff uh, almost automatically. When you do this, everything else falls in place. So Jack Nicklaus, and the world's top sports people intuitively know this stuff. Okay. Oh, I will say as well, even if you're when I say even if you're an accountant, this stuff applies to you. If you want to get the best out of yourself, then the one technique I'm going to show you today is 100% relevant for you if you do it on a regular basis. Okay, so what you're going to be doing is you're going to be following a method that I learned from Jack Nicklaus. Okay, so Jack Nicklaus said, and of course, Jack Nicklaus won 18 majors, Tigers won 14. It's probably unlikely Tiger will ever pass Jack Nicklaus. So Jack Nicklaus won more majors, golf majors, than anyone else. He said, I never played in a shot in my life without playing it in my mind first. He said, I'd see the ball sitting exactly where it was I wanted. Then I'd see the ball flying through the air. Then I'd see the exact shot that I'd need to make it all happen. Only then would I take the shot. Okay, now I read this when I was in Vancouver in a bookstore. I couldn't afford to buy the book, but I was reading about Jack Nicklaus, and I read this quote, and it stuck with me for years. And I didn't apply it. So what we're going to see today is why motivation fails, how the mind really works, and the Jack Nicklaus exercise. Okay, secret mind strategy used by high achievers. Right, ever since I've known this stuff, I have had my radar pricked for listening to world sort of top achievers, to what they were saying. And when you are aware of this, you'll hear them say stuff that relates to the mind and how important it is. You'll see it again and again and again. And I'm going to give you some examples today. So Einstein said imagination is more important than intelligence, which is kind of an interesting thing to say when he was voted the most intelligent person of the 20th century. He's saying, yeah, but that wasn't the most important thing. It was imagination. And have you ever said, I can do anything I put my mind to? Yeah, and I have. I hear all the people, when I put my mind to it, I can do anything. But how specifically do you put your mind to it? Okay, so I know sometimes you have put your mind to it and achieved some great results, like even starting up your business. And yet there'll be other times when you haven't, well, you haven't known how to put your mind to it and it hasn't worked to the same degree. So we've all got a mind, but no roadmap on how to use it. So today is kind of a little roadmap. Now, let me tell you a little story. I was asked to go and speak in Tahiti. This is 7 or 8 years ago, probably, to the Asteron insurance broker. So all the financial advisors go on these overseas junkets if they sell enough of the right type of insurance, and the insurance companies take them on these elaborate trips. Anyway, to justify it as a business-related expense, they need a speaker there to speak for an hour, and I was the speaker that was justifying everyone's the business expense for everybody, so they could rack it up as a business-related expense. Anyway, and I went there with the goal of, okay, I'm going to be here for 6 days in Tahiti with these financial advisors. It's going to be hot. I'm not going to need to eat a lot. I might get a bit of exercise in and eat healthily, and there'll be lots of fruit and vegetables, and I'm going to eat healthily. Maybe see if I can lose a bit of weight while I'm here. Okay, so anyway, on the first day we get to Tahiti, and we get to the banquet. Well, we get to the big banquet room, really, and there's this huge spread of everything. Wow. So I'm thinking I was going to eat fruit, but obviously this is a big night. I might as well eat because I can spend the rest of the time eating not much. So I ate a lot. There's pork, there's lamb, there's ham, there's everything. Right? So, okay, that's all right. It's one night. So I go back to my bungalow, and I've got this bungalow, a bure, which is on stilts over the water. If you can imagine those Tahitian, and it's really nice. I've got this room to myself, fantastic. And the problem is, I'd eaten so much, I couldn't sleep all night, and it was hot, and I was full and bloated, and I didn't sleep at all. And I wake up in the morning, just feeling, and I go out and look, and there's water lapping in on I've got a little deck that, the water laps in on your little deck below, and think, I'm not going to go for breakfast because I'm too full from the night before. And so I lie there and I'm getting bored and it's getting hot. Someone says, are you coming to breakfast? And I go, no. Now, I tell you what, I'm not going to have breakfast, but I will come and I'll just have a glass of orange juice. Right. So I'm walking along with these people and we get to the buffet. And once again, I look at the buffet and I go, oh my, look at it. It was bigger than the night before. And so, orange juice. I tell you, I have a little plate of fruit salad. So I get to the buffet table and I can have a small plate. There's small plates. Well, when I say small, normal sized plates, and then there's the large plates. And so I've got to choose which plate to take. And I go, I'll tell you what, I'll get the extra large plate because I'll have one triangle waffle with some chocolate sauce on and a little bit of fruit salad, and I don't want the chocolate sauce to mix with the fruit salad juice. And so I can put one on one side, one on the other. That's how I justified it. Anyway, I walk to the table, and then by the time I lose track of consciousness because the next thing I know, I'm looking down at this plate full of fantastic food that I'm going to eat, and I ate it all, and I went back for seconds. So I went to the dinner table, sort of focused on apples, and I ended up eating apple pie, right? And has that ever happened to you? You set yourself a little goal, and then something else completely happens. And I thought to myself, I'm here to speak to these men and women about the mind, and here's an example of me having absolutely no control over my own mind, right? I went for apples, ended up with apple pie. So my motivation for apples was very low. I needed to take it up. What I need to do is learn how to take my motivation, say, from apples, from low up to high, right? And what I need to do is take my motivation from apple pie from very high to low. And if I can do that, then I've got control over my own mind. But how do I do that? How does the mind actually work? Okay, so here's how the mind actually works. This is what, when they see an iceberg, people think, oh, the iceberg, look, there's a bit of iceberg floating on the water. Well, actually, no. The reality is icebergs are usually huge, and the bit above the surface that we see is a very small piece. It's only about 13%, right? Most of it's below the surface. So when we see an iceberg, we're not really seeing much of it, right? So let's say it's 20% above the surface, 80% below. Well, this is kind of like a metaphor for your mind. 20% of what we're aware of is above the surface, 80% is below. Now, I want you to type into the chat window, if there was two parts of the mind, type into the chat window what you think would be above the surface and what you think might be below the surface. And I'm going to just see what you think. No. What part of your mind is above the surface and what part of your mind is below the surface? What do you think? What part of your mind's above the surface and what part's below? Just type in the chat window. Above the okay. Above the surface. Okay, no, 50-50. You're not okay. So you're not understanding. Okay, so I'll just tell you. It's a bit like the metaphor for me. This is my metaphor anyway. Is that the conscious mind is like 20% above the surface, and our subconscious is below. Okay, so most of our mind is below the surface. Okay, so we're pretty good at communicating and understanding how to operate our conscious mind. We're not very good at understanding how to communicate with our subconscious mind. So if I'm sitting on this little iceberg here and I'm trying to paddle in the direction of my goal, right? And I think I'm doing a good job. Well, I'm only doing a good job if there's no current, because if there's a current going the other way, then it doesn't matter how hard I paddle, the current is going to pick up my unconscious and take it the other way. And this is kind of what happens. I say I want apples consciously, but there's another part of me which is bigger and stronger, and it picks me up in the current and takes me to whichever way the current's going, which is towards the apple pie. How do I change? So paddling, schmeddling, right? How do I change the flow of the current? How can I get the current to flow where I want it to go? This is the big question, right? How do we communicate with our subconscious? Because if we can communicate to the 80%, we're going to have so much power. And that's what we're going to learn today, how we can gain control of that power. So I see someone's coming late, and I'm going to show you this technique that Jack Nicklaus taught me. And I'm just going to mute Claudia. She's a bit noisy, but she's gone now. Right. Okay. And I've given this technique to a lot of sales people, because I used to train sales people in mental skills, right? And I give this technique to them, and we got some like stunning results just with sales people doing this visualization process I'm going to teach you. And it's so simple, right? And when you do this for 30 days, this is the feedback that people gave me. So I would say, where were you at the start? Where are you now, right? So on average, people would say their focus was up 184%, their motivation up 120%, confidence up 94%. So that's almost double. Their confidence almost doubled, their resilience up 67%, and their enjoyment of work 107% doubled. Okay, so the process is visualization. It's a visualization technique, but it's a lot of people struggle to visualize. You'll find it really easy when I give you these techniques. Now, you may say, well, I can't visualize. And my answer is you already do. You visualize every day, and maybe you're not even aware of it. Okay, so question, and type into the chat window now, what color is your car? What color is your car? Natasha silver, Winnie white, Kirsty red, Marsala. Josh has got a masala colored car. What's that? A sort of a dirty yellow, is it, Josh? Grant's blue. Claudia's black. Masala. Sounds a little bit flash, Josh. All right, good. Thank you. Now, my question to you is, how do you know what the color of your car was? What was the process? What did you do inside your head to be able to know that the color of your car is masala? What did you do? Right? I'm gonna bet that all of you, what you did is you didn't know the color of your car. What you did is you visualized your car. If I visualize my car now, I can see my car on the street. I look at it, it's black. Boom, I have the answer, black. Right? That's how I did it. I did a quick, what's the color of your front door of your house? Now notice, What's the color of the front door of your house? Notice what you do. Color of the front door of my house. I see the front door of my house. That's black too. So I look at it. I say, yep, black. Boom. I've just done another quick visualization to be able to name the color. This is what we do all the time. We visualize things really quickly. We see the picture. We're able to come up with the answer. Boom. There's our answer. We're not even aware that we're visualizing like this. Okay? So, don't think of a gray elephant. Don't think of a gray elephant. Don't think of a gray elephant sitting on a brick wall. Please don't think of a gray elephant sitting on a brick wall. Try and block that out of your mind. We can't, right? Gray elephant sitting on a wall. We think of it. Now, daydream. Do you ever daydream? Right? I do. I daydream. That's visualization. So if you daydream, you're a visualizer. If you can name the color of your car or your door, you're a daydreamer. You're a visualizer. Okay? If you ever get stressed about something which hasn't happened yet, then you're visualizing something happen which hasn't happened yet. Right? You're visualizing. So the point is, no one can say they don't visualize. They do all the time. You just don't label it as visualization. So you're already good at visualizing. If you've ever got yourself stressed about something which hasn't happened yet, you're a good visualizer. Right? Now, let's go back to the conscious and the subconscious mind. Right? Conscious is a bit above the surface. The other one's below the surface. Now, what we need to do is work out how to communicate. Particularly, we know how to communicate with the conscious. We're pretty good at that. How do we communicate with the subconscious mind? What do you guys think? What do you think? And then we need a process for doing it really effectively. So how do you communicate with the conscious mind? And how do you communicate with the conscious and the subconscious? What's the difference between the two? Just type in what you think. Type in what you think, type in what you think, type in what you think. How do you communicate with the conscious? And how do you think you communicate with the subconscious? Have a guess. Have a guess, have a guess, have a guess. Someone have a guess. Anyone have a guess? Please have a guess. Come on. Grant McCarthy says dreams. All right, yes. That's what we see coming from our subconscious. Yep. Winnie says communicate with conscious, talking out loud. Yes, we could do it that way. Winnie Watley says subconscious equals thinking. Okay, good answers. I'm going to, because I'm interested in something which is that we can use, so you're probably all kind of correct. But here's how I see it, right? Subconscious understands images, it works in pictures, and it works in emotions. Okay? Conscious mind understands logic and reason. Okay, a conscious is logic and reason. We're pretty good at that. Accountants are going to be pretty good at managing their conscious mind. Not necessarily so good at their subconscious. Okay, so the language we need to communicate to our subconscious, if we want to move the current in a different direction than where it's naturally going, we need to use pictures and emotions. Now, let me give you some famous people. I didn't invent this. I kind of just, through a lot of deep thought and introspection, kind of discovered a lot of this stuff. But when I did, I noticed a lot of other people who were very successful kind of already knew this. Okay, so Jim Carrey, I do know it's possible to program your brain. It really is. I've done it my whole life. Everything I have is because of the kind of brainwashing I've done to myself. And he tells a story about how when he was poor, he wrote out a check to himself for $10 million and he put a date on it. And when that date came up, he had the money. He was able to, cash in that check to himself. He had the money. And, it was literally, he had no money when he wrote it out. And I watched a documentary the other night of him on Netflix, which is really good if you want to watch it. Where I think he says he put the check into his father's coffin, something like that. Anyway, Jim Carrey understands this. Marilyn Monroe says, I used to think and look up to the Hollywood night. There must be 1,000 girls sitting alone like me dreaming of becoming a movie star, but I'm not going to worry about them. I'm dreaming the hardest. So she obviously visualized being a successful actress, right? Leaders move great people. All great influencers throughout history move people to subconscious level using the secrets of subconscious persuasion, which is images and emotions. Images and emotions, right? When you think about Oprah Winfrey, big visualizer. Winston Churchill, the way he spoke, we'll fight them on the beaches, we'll fight them in the air, we'll fight them on the land, and in 1,000 years from now, they'll look back and say that was their finest hour, right? Highly emotive, image-rich language, which connects with people at a much deeper level. JFK, inspirational speaker, once again, connecting people at an emotional level. All the great speakers did, right? They spoke using emotional images, metaphors, analogies, similes, and stories, and they changed the world. I Have a Dream, Martin Luther King, right? Another inspirational speaker who spoke using pictures and images. Now, we can use it to influence thousands of people or millions of people. We can also use it to influence ourselves. John Lennon, imagine all the people. So singing, telling a story and affecting people at a subconscious level. What's the difference between a singer which becomes a superstar and one that just sings nice songs, right? It's how much they touch us at an emotional level. And we gravitate towards people that can move us emotionally, right? We need to be able to move ourselves emotionally. This guy was able to move people emotionally for a while. Another one, a little bit like Marilyn Monroe. I used to sit on a bench puffing out my hair that one day a movie producer would pull over and say, "You're the one I've been looking for." Visualizing success. Elvis, when I was a child, I was a dreamer. I read comic books. I saw movies and I was the hero. So every dream I've ever had has come true 1,000 times. He visualized being successful. Arnold definitely knew exactly what he was doing, and he's very direct about it. I can remember when I had nothing except a belief that my mind was the key to where I wanted to go. When I was very young, I visualized myself being and having what it was I wanted. Mentally, I never had any doubts about it. The mind is really so incredible. He just sat there and visualized what he wanted. Now, some people are good at just saying, "Oh, I can just sit there and visualize." Most need a format. And I'm going to give you a very simple format where you can become a Zen master at visualization in like 3 minutes using this process. Madonna, once again, she's into visualization. Mark Twain. Okay, there are a few laws here, and I'm going to give you a quick few laws, right? Number one, the subconscious doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Okay, the conscious mind knows it's real or what's not real. Subconscious doesn't. The subconscious will react as if it's real. Let me give you a quick demonstration of that. I want you to put out your hand. I don't care where you are. Just put out your hand. Imagine you've got a lemon in your hand, and it's your right hand. So pull your right hand up, turn it over, hold the lemon, hold this imaginary lemon, and just imagine the weight of this lemon and squeeze the lemon. Just give it a little bit of a squeeze. No one's looking. And look at the color of the lemon. Maybe some light shining off that waxy sort of surface and the pores in the lemon. And now just imagine that lemon and just bring it up so it's close enough that you can smell a little citrusy smell. And just smell that little citrusy lemon smell. And take out a knife and just plunge it into the lemon. Just so enough, just an imaginary knife, just so that it drips a bit of lemon juice out. Now bring that lemon juice up and just squeeze a little bit into your mouth, onto your tongue. And just let it sit on your tongue. Roll it around on your tongue. And now a bit more juice. So it spills over your tongue into your mouth. And swirl it around. Now take a bite of that lemon. And what do you notice as you bite the lemon, right? Is your mouth gone salivary, or has it gone dry? Just type in, has it gone dry or has it gone salivary? Type in what's happened. And chew on that lemon. Wet. Josh has gone wet. Some people will salivate, others it'll feel like it's gone dry. It's actually quite the same thing, but it kind of feels funny. And chew on that lemon, just imaginary lemon. Okay, so a lot of you are salivating, some of you gone dry. Good. Now, my question for you is, do you have a lemon in your hand? Right? Well, no, the answer is no, you don't. Okay, you don't have a lemon in your hand. So why is your mouth going wet? Well, why is your mouth going dry? Right? Why? Well, the answer is the subconscious. If you just, no one's in a deep hypnotic state here, but the subconscious doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So even just imagining licking a lemon or biting a lemon and just cut the lemon in half and just lick the lemon. Just imagine licking the lemon. And can you feel your mouth doing funny things already? Even though you know it's not there, your subconscious doesn't, right? And this is a key, we want to be successful. This is a key thing. We can actually visualize things which haven't happened yet. And even though consciously we know we haven't achieved our goal, we haven't doubled our business, or we haven't made $1 million, it doesn't matter. Our subconscious will react as if we have, the same way it will react by putting saliva into your mouth or taking it out. It'll react as if you have. Okay? Subconscious doesn't understand the difference what real and what's imagined. Second one is you have the power to entertain any thought. Now, we can train our subconscious mind. I've just demonstrated with the lemon. We can trick our subconscious mind into believing anything and reacting in any way, right? Plus, we can plant any thought that we want, right? We can choose any thought that we want and then plant that thought, and our subconscious will react as if it's true. Muhammad Ali. Number 3, the subconscious mind responds to images and emotions. Okay, so it responds to images and emotions. That is how we can move it. By taking you through a little exercise, it wasn't overly emotional, but maybe it was a little bit imagery with the lemon, your subconscious responded. And think about all the great influences throughout history. They've known this. Muhammad Ali. I wrestle with an alligator, tussle with a whale, handcuff lightning, put thunder in jail. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. I shook the world. I'm a bad, bad man. Right? Who was he trying to influence? Well, himself, maybe his opponent. Who did he end up influencing? Everybody. Because that type of speaking, that type of image-rich emotional language is hypnotic. It's addictive, right? So what do we know? We know successful people proactively visualize. They visualize what they want. We know the subconscious conscious mind responds to logic. We know the subconscious responds to images and emotions. And we know that they don't have to be real images and real emotions. We can visualize them. We know repetition draws new habits into people in place, and visualizations create confidence, focus, resilience, and motivation. Okay, here are the key steps. How do you apply this in day-to-day life for your own success? Okay, number 1, what I'm going to do, hang on. You just unmuted yourself, Winnie. I'll just mute you again. The whispering Winnie Waitley. Right. Number 1, what we're going to get you to do is create your mental movie on paper. Okay, mental movie on paper. It's much easier when you've scripted it out. I'm going to give you the template that you're going to use. Number 2, rehearse for 5 minutes every day. It's far more powerful for you to do a visualization for 5 minutes every day than it is to do it for 20 minutes one day a week, right? It's like little drips. You drip, 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 drip. Your subconscious it doesn't need a long time. 3 minutes is fine, right? You're going to write down your little visualization. You're going to rehearse it for 5 minutes a day or just run through it. You're going to you might make multiple movies, right? So you might have your outcome, but you might look at it from multiple perspectives, okay? You'll use a timer. These are all things that I've learned from doing this for the last 20 years that make it easier. If you just start and go for it and you don't know what the time is, you end up having to look at your clock, and you'll look at your watch or clock after 2 minutes and go, oh, I thought it was about 10 minutes. It's actually only 2 minutes, and you lose your concentration. So you need to know that the timer on your cell phone is set, and it'll buzz you when 5 minutes is up. Okay, use a timer so you can just get into it, and then step out, then relax. Once 5 minutes is up, that's it. Build it into your daily routine. Okay. The hardest thing in the world to do is start a new habit, right? One of the easier things to do, if you want to make it easy for yourself, is you stack it on top of an existing habit. Okay, so to start a visualization habit might be quite hard, but if you stack it onto something you already know you're going to do, and you say, right, well, I'm going to do my visualization at a certain time when I know I'm going to be doing something else. So I had a guy in England, and he said, right, I do my visualization from the time I shut my gate till I walk to the train station. It's about a 5-minute walk, and I do it there. And that's boom. I've stacked my new habit on top of an existing habit, which is walking from point A to point B. Another one is I know I'm going to be brushing my teeth for 3 minutes. So I'm going to do my visualization from the time I start brushing my teeth to the time I finish brushing my teeth. Bang, you're stacking a new habit on top of an existing one, much easier. Another one might be I'm going to stack it. This is quite a good one. I'm going to stack it on top of my normal going to the toilet first thing in the morning. Right, the door's shut. I can put my timer on. I won't be disturbed. I can shut my eyes. I kill 2 birds with 1 nugget. Right. That could be a good one. If you just like to sit quietly with your eyes shut, you can do that, but it might be a new habit, so it's a bit harder. If you do it just before you go to bed, you might get excited and find it hard to go to sleep. So it's sometimes better to do it first thing in the morning when you wake up than it is when you're trying to go to sleep. Right? Those are some tips. Okay. The mind targeting, the Jack Nicklaus way. Here's what he said. Remember, I never played a shot in my life without playing it in my mind first. This is the greatest golfer in history. Use this 3-step process. Number 1, remember, he said, I see the ball sitting exactly where it is. I wanted it. Okay, I want you to notice what he's saying here. So I'm going to go through the 3 steps he had, and I want you to point out any insights you've had into these 3 steps. Okay, number 1, I see the ball sitting exactly where it is. I wanted it. Number 2, I see the ball flying through the air. Number 3, I see the exact shot I need to make it all happen. Now, type into the chat window, what do you notice he's doing? What do you notice about that? Any insights there? Okay, he's starting, he's starting from the end point, is 1. Yep, so he's reverse engineering what he wants to happen. Right, he's seeing each step in the process. What else do you notice? Everything's, visual. He's everything's visual. He's focusing on the process, not the result. Well, actually, good. He's seeing the result because he's seeing the ball sitting exactly where it is he wants it. So this one's kind of here's the outcome I want. Here's how it's going to get there, and here's what I need to do now. Okay, so those are the steps. That's pretty simple, and only then would I take a shot. So he says he never played a shot in his life without doing that 3-step visualization routine. I remember thinking, wow, not immediately, but I remember thinking a couple of years after because I just remembered that process, and I thought, wow, that's really cool. We could turn that into a visualization. Well, we could use his visualization process. So here's how we can do it. Right? Get out a piece of paper and draw up the squares. Right? And what we've got is we've got 9 squares that you need to write in. So this is so simple. Now, we've got the final scene, which is the ball. The final scene is where do you want the ball to be. The middle scene is how does it get there? See what has to happen for the ball to get there. And the starting scene is what's the swing I need to make, or what's the thing I need to do right now. Okay, so I've broken it up into 3 things. I want you to describe in the first 3 boxes the event, what's happening, give the scene a name. What's happening? Okay, let's say I'm going to make one up. Let's say I'm running accounting practice and I want to double my profits. So the final scene might be me sitting in Hawaii on Waikiki Beach with my wife, and this is the reward for having doubled my profits. Okay, that's the final scene. That's the reward scene. What would the middle scene be? The middle scene might be me, I don't know, I see myself getting all my systems in place, I see myself putting my marketing in place, and it's the scene of me getting really busy. It's the scene of me, excuse me, being on a mission and having a daily plan. Actually, this might be it. I can see my quarterly plan, and I see everything mapped out on the wall, and I can see myself just crossing off objectives and tasks that they've all been done. And these represent all the things that need to happen for me to double my profit so I can be on the beach with my wife in Hawaii. What's the starting scene? What's the thing that I see now at the start, which is like Jack Nicklaus taking that swing? What's the thing that triggers it? And it might be me seeing myself sitting down and brainstorming what is required, right? So it's me at a desk. It's dark outside. I'm on my own. I've got a big piece of paper and I'm just brainstorming what it needs to happen. What are all the things that need to happen for me to double my profits? Right. So we've got the final scene, which is in Hawaii. We've got the middle scene, which is me ticking off all the things having been done. And we've got the starting scene, which is me coming up with a plan of what needs to be done. Right. Now, remember we said that we need more emotion, we need more images, because that's what really connects. So we're having renovations on our bathroom here, and I'm at home at the moment. And my builder really doesn't give a damn that I'm doing a presentation on visualization. He really just doesn't care. He's just trying to create a nice bathroom. So hopefully it's not too noisy. Right. So what I do here now where it says details and images, where are you? Who's there? What are they wearing? So here's where I want more detail. So I go to that final scene of Hawaii and I go, right, where am I specifically? Who am I with? Okay, I'm with my wife. We're sitting on a red towel. It's 28 degrees. We're in front of a black looking hotel. There's a lagoon just to my right, where the beach goes into a lagoon. And it's 28 degrees. It's 2:27 in the afternoon. And my wife's there asleep, and we're going to go out for dinner. So I'm adding extra detail to the picture. See what I'm doing there? Next one, add some emotion and meaning. What are you feeling, experiencing? What does it mean? Okay, what it would mean for me. Let's double my profits. It means I'm so proud because I've been able to set a goal of doubling my profits, and I've actually done it. And so it's a great sense of satisfaction. Yes, it's more money in the bank, but actually it's more about the achievement of making it happen, deliberately making it happen. And it's giving me the sense that if I can do this, I can do anything. I could double again, right? Because often doubling your money really doesn't involve doubling your work. It's often just increasing my fees, or I don't know, targeting a new type of client or something like that. So what does it mean? It's pride. I'm proud of myself that I set this goal, and here we are. Then I'd go to the middle scene. What's my middle scene? My middle scene is all my action plans being ticked off. I've got black ink, add some detail. Right, it's red. I'm crossing out things with a red pen. Everything's written in black. And as I achieve them, I can see all these red lines across the paper. And I can see it. And where am I? I'm in this office with a glass wall on one side. And it's a big piece of paper. I'm seeing the details with lots of red. And I'm scratching across another red line. And what is it? It's 3:58 in the afternoon. And I can feel myself crossing out another line of action and objective ticked off. So I'm crossing it out and ticking it. Don't need to tick it because I've crossed it out, but it just feels good to tick it. What's the emotion? I feel the emotion in this one because I need more emotion to make it register at the subconscious. I'm feeling momentum, right? I can feel things are happening. I'm on a roll. I'm feeling good. It's easy. I've got all these things to do, and I'm doing them, and I'm on top of them, and things are falling into place. And I may not be seeing the results, but I know I'm doing everything right, right? I'm doing the process. I'm doing everything right, and I know good things are going to come. That's how that one feels. And starting scene, you get the picture, right? I would do the same with the starting scene. Right, once I've written that out, it becomes very easy for me now to run through those final scene, middle scene, and starting scene. It becomes very easy for me to run through those scenes in my mind because I've scripted it all out like a movie creator, a movie director, right? I know what the event is. I know specific details, and I know how it's supposed to feel. Now I can look at the picture and I can just see it, right? I can see myself on the beach, 28 degrees. What was it? It was 2:37 or something in the afternoon on a red towel. There's a lagoon to my right. I can feel the warmth of the sand. I can see the waves lapping on the shore on the golden sands. And I'm just feeling pleased with myself. Here we are. Right? I can see that stuff easily. I've become a visualization guru because I've scripted it out in advance. Right? So questions and comments. That's kind of how it's done. What I want is feedback from you guys, and maybe if someone wants to just look, we could create one for someone else using this process because it's so worth it. I've given you one example of me making one up. If one of you guys wants to, I can take you through now, unmute you, and we can make up a quick one as well. It would be useful for everybody listening. Okay, so literally, you can just draw this up yourself. I do have copies of this document, but literally, you can just draw it up on a piece of paper and stick it on the wall. So I want some feedback, guys. Do you think you could do this? Now, from my experience, I would say the reason I played international cricket was because I learned to visualize myself as an international cricketer, right? I was not on track to become an international cricketer. I was on track to become a club cricketer, right? I couldn't get beyond club cricket until I learned to visualize. Within 4 months of training myself I tell you, there's another great quote that I had really embedded in my head, and it's, if you're going to be a champion, you've got to think like one first, okay? And it kind of lines up with the visualization, right? So if I want to be a first-class cricketer, I have to see myself, I've got to train myself to think like one first. So I would train myself to think like one first by seeing myself as a first-class cricketer, right? And once I took on the identity that I am one, even though I wasn't one, once I took on that identity, everything started to click, right? I'd visualize myself as a first-class cricketer. I'd ask myself, what would I be doing if I was a first-class cricketer on a Friday night? Would I be going to the pub or would I be going for a run? How would I train if I was a first-class cricketer? How would I do this? How would I do that? How would I do that? And whenever I saw the picture of what I thought myself as a first-class cricketer would do, then I would do that. I would go and do it. Okay, Natasha says, I think I'll struggle with the middle scene, but I'll give it a go. Right. I'm going to teach you for actually responding, Natasha. Have you got a microphone? You don't, do you? You don't have a microphone. You've saved yourself. Okay. Bit noisy. Okay, fair enough. All right. Questions, guys. Let's talk about this because the more we talk about it, the deeper understanding you'll get for this. So you need to see the key is if you're going to be not champion, if you're going to be running a $2 million a year accounting firm, you're going to have to think like a $2 million a year accounting firm owner, right? They think differently from a $1 million a year accounting firm owner, right? They think differently. They see themselves slightly differently, right? They probably dress slightly differently. Think for yourself where you are now. Now, just imagine, just for the sake of the exercise, is the goal to fill in all 9 boxes? Yeah, the goal is to fill in all 9 boxes, but then use this template for when you do your visualization. So when you're sitting on the loo for 5 minutes and you put on your stopwatch, maybe you have this piece of paper, but you probably won't need it. If you've scripted out in the 9 different boxes, then you already know what it is, right? And so when you go and mentally step through from the final scene to the middle scene to the starting scene, and then maybe back to the middle scene, and then you'll run through the final scene. As you go through that over 3 to 5 minute period, gee, it's noisy here, isn't it? As you go through all that, you're just visualizing it the same way you were visualizing a lemon. And even though consciously you know you're not running a $2 million a year business, your subconscious is reacting as if you are, right? And it'll slowly take it on board, take it on board, take it on board. And some people say, oh, well, it's like the movie The Secret, where you just visualize, they talk about manifesting things. Maybe you manifest things. I don't know, right? Certainly some amazing coincidences happen to me. So maybe it's that we're resonating at a different vibration and we're attracting that reality to us. Maybe. Or maybe we're just programming ourselves to be a $2 million a year business owner. I don't know. But I know it works, right? I know it works. Like I say, the only reason I played cricket for New Zealand is because I visualized playing cricket for New Zealand, right? Now, the first time I tried to visualize myself playing cricket for New Zealand, I couldn't imagine myself playing for New Zealand. I didn't know what it would look like because I'd never, it was something I wanted, but it's certainly not something I'd ever seen, not even in my own mind. Now, that was the problem. Once I started, so the first time I thought, okay, well, what does it look like if I'm playing for New Zealand? What do I look like? And I thought, my immediate answer is, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. So I had to sit there and I had to imagine, at the time for me it was, well, there's Martin Crowe, so I'll add him in. And there's Danny Morrison, so I'll add him in. And we'd be wearing whites, so I'll put us in whites. And we'd be walking out onto grass, so I'm imagining grass. I had to kind of construct it like a painter having a blank canvas. I had literally had a blank canvas. I hadn't imagined half of it. I didn't have to fill in the gaps. I had to fill in the whole thing. But it takes 20 to 30 days of seeing this new perspective of yourself, seeing yourself in new light by visualizing these things. 20 to 30 days, bang, before a new habit forms. Right? 20 to 30 days, and then it'll start to feel different because a new habit will have formed. And that new habit will be the way you look at yourself. So when I say, what's the color of your car and what's the color of your front door at home, you automatically see your car and your front door. When I say, how do you see yourself, right? The way you see yourself now will be how you see yourself now, and it'll determine how you act and behave. But if I say to you, imagine you're running a $2 million business, and for you, 2 million may not be the goal, but let's say 2 million is the goal. If I say, imagine yourself running a $2 million business, I'm going to bet that you see something slightly differently to what you see of yourself now if you're not running a $2 million business, right? What do you see? Right? What do you see? How do you see yourself interacting with staff? How do you see how do you see the clothes you're wearing? Does that change? How do you see yourself moving? How do you see yourself interacting with clients? How do you see yourself interacting at home? What differences do you notice? Right? So a lot of people will say, I feel I'm wearing better clothes and I'm standing taller and I'm more confident when I'm talking to people. Okay, that's what we need to see. We need to see the $2 million version of you, not the $500,000 version. Okay, I want you to know exactly what it looks like and feels like, and you may have to construct it. But I want you to see it, because seeing is believing, right? And what this does by seeing it between 20 and 30 days for 5 minutes a day, every day for 20, what you'll notice will happen is it'll go from your head into your gut. Instead of being something you're kind of saying, oh, look, this is what I want to happen. This is how I'd like to be. You'll notice a shift. And that's what will happen. You'll start to automatically see yourself that way because you'll have created a new habit of seeing yourself that way. Does that make sense? At the moment, you have a habit of seeing yourself the way you are. That's great if you want to stay the way you are. If you want to go up 2 notches, you're going to have to lift your thinking up 2 notches and start seeing yourself as the person who's 2 notches up. Makes sense. Common sense when you think about it. And remember, the subconscious doesn't understand the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So if you imagine yourself 2 notches up, for 20 to 30 days, and your subconscious doesn't understand the difference, after a while, it'll just absorb it. And even though you may not be there, you may not be the $2 million accounting firm owner, in your head, you're becoming that person, right? So I just want you to type in, please, type in the chat box. What's your biggest takeaway from today? What's your biggest takeaway from today? And yes or no, are you going to do some visualization? I'm going to say, can you commit to doing, say, 3 minutes of visualization for the next 30 days, just to test it out, right? So what's your biggest takeaway? And yes or no, will you do 30 days of 3 minutes a day, just while you're on the loo? So type in your biggest takeaway, please. Natasha says, I'll try it. Brilliant. I promise you guys, what do we got? How many people we've got here? I promise you, if you pick something which excites you, but you probably think it's slightly outside my ability to pull off, but it does excite me, and visualize that for 30 days, and let's see what happens, right? I can't promise you'll get there within 30 days. It may take you longer than that, but I promise you, things will change. So Natasha's going to try it. Mark says, have this in a visible spot. Yes. Yeah, good point. So have your little visualization things, and you might have a number of these ones because you might be looking at it from one perspective and then from a different perspective. Pin them on the wall so that you remember, right? And make sure your visualization time is the same each day. Tag it to an existing habit. So have an invisible spot. Kirsty says, pick a big goal and then see it. Yes, I'll try. Yeah, you're not going to try. Don't forget the try. You're actually going to do it. I'm not promising your big goal will come off, although it almost always does when people stick to it. I remember a guy saying, he said only one of two things will happen. You'll either stop visualizing it or you'll get it. You'll either stop visualizing it or get it. That's the only two things that can possibly happen. So yeah, pick a goal. The key thing is that the goal excites you, right? So if you've got something which, let's say 2 million might not excite you, pick something which does excite you. What is it that you secretly want to achieve? But maybe you're too scared to say because it sounds too ridiculous. But what's the secret thing that in your heart you would love to achieve? That's the one. Can you incorporate it into a daily meditation practice? Yeah. So meditation is about focusing on your breathing, usually focusing on your breathing and basically clearing your head of any stress, distraction. You're centering yourself. You're nice and still. Great. Once you've done that, you can then, now you've got a clear head, you can now start planting the seeds. So you might take, 5 minutes of meditation. At the end of your meditation, boom, you've got a nice clear head. Do 3 minutes of, right, here's where I am, here's what needs to happen, here's the thing that triggers it. Jake Nicholas. So yes, you can. It's a good idea. You do not have to shut your eyes. Sometimes it's better if you're moving around and you can use your body and various aspects. You can almost, as long as no one's watching you, because they'll put you away in a nut home if they see you. But if you can go somewhere quiet, and sometimes it helps to move and use your hands and gesticulate and just feel it and use your hands to almost feel yourself doing the things. That can be great. Okay, who else we got here? I'm going to call people out. Josh, Grant McCarthy. Just type in, what's your biggest takeaway? Josh Bayer, to play more golf. There you go, Josh. Maybe get your handicap down. Grant, what's your biggest takeaway, guys? Quick, type in your biggest takeaway. Mark, Winnie, Natasha, Kirsty, Josh. What's your biggest takeaway from today's session? What's your biggest insight? To shift my focus to success. Yeah, exactly. Shift your focus to what you want, right? Focus on what you want. It's only for 3 minutes a day, right? You can go and you can be unrealistic for 3 minutes a day, spend 3 minutes a day being unrealistic, seeing exactly what it is you want as if you've already got it. right? As if you've already got it in that final scene. The middle scene is you doing stuff to get it. The first scene is you triggering it. You remember the final scene? You've already got it. Okay? So shift my focus to what I want. And you might say, well, it's being unrealistic. Yes, it is being unrealistic for 3 minutes a day. It's highly powerful, optimized being unrealistic. You can go back to being realistic for the rest of the day if you want. 3 minutes, I want you unrealistic. Right? Good point. Okay. When he says, if you can only see yourself as you are now, then how can you get to your goal? Yeah, because the person who's going to achieve the bigger goal needs to be a bigger version of you, right? Don't wish the goal were easier, wish that you were better. And that's what we're doing. We're getting you to see a better version of yourself who can easily achieve the bigger goal. 3 minutes a day. Josh says, love the lemon exercise. It shows the power of the subconscious. Great stuff, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you enjoyed the session. I'm going to hold you guys. I'm going to come back to you guys and see, and just maybe we just chat about it. Or I think on the Facebook would be a good place to just post that we're still doing exercise. I'm going to ask some questions on the Facebook, and I just want you guys to respond there. Are you still doing it? What have you noticed? Was it easy? Was it hard? What's your goal? That sort of stuff, and try and if I can get you past 30 days, you'll probably want to do this for the rest of your life. Right, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you guys, some of you guys, doing this and doing phenomenally well and embarrassing those who don't. Imagine that. Imagine being the one who didn't do this and then seeing 6 or 7 other people talk about how successful they were, and you're the one person who didn't do it. Imagine that. That would be terrible. All right, that's enough of that. All right, see you guys. Thank you.